Hello and good evening, viewers. Welcome to our brief news at 4 p.m. You are with me, Ruth WAIRIMU, with my sign language interpreter doing the voicing, Tobias Omondi. On to our news. The Court of Appeal has lifted an order barring the implementation of the Social Health Insurance Fund. A three-judge bench composed of Justices Patrick Kiage, Pauline Nyamweya, and Ngenye Masharia directed that certain provisions remain suspended pending the hearing and determination of the appeal filed by the state. This includes Section 26(5), which makes registration and contribution of precondition for dealing with or accessing public services from the national and county governments or their entities. Section 27(4), which provides that a person shall only access healthcare services where their contribution to the Social Health Insurance Fund are up to date and active, also remains suspended. The High Court had suspended the implementation of the Health Reforms Law in November last, the case for hearing on the 7th of February. Moving on to other news. The Law Society of Kenya, that's LSK, has labeled the decision by the Supreme Court to permanently bar renowned city lawyer Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi from making submission before it as illegal. The ban that was issued on Thursday and signed by the Registrar of Supreme Court Muthoni Wachira was declared by the full bench of the Apex Court. The Law Society of Kenya President Eric Theuri contends that the court lacks the legal authority to prevent an advocate duly authorized by the Law Society from practicing law. The court's verdict violates the principles of the right to be heard, which he deems as fundamental element of any fair decision. Commenting on the judge's decision to also prohibit associates of Abdullahi's law firm from making presentations before the Apex Court, LSK president argued that every individual has a constitutional right to choose their counsel. On to more news. The government has released 14.4 billion Kenya shillings as the second batch to cover scholarships and loans for government-sponsored first-year students in universities under the new higher education funding model. The loans will also cover the second semester for the year 2023 students. In a statement by the Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Mashogu, of the total 10.39 billion Kenya shillings will go towards loans under the High Education Loans Board, that's HELB, while 3.98 billion Kenya shillings will be disbursed for scholarships through the University Fund UF. Will receive the scholarship portions for their respective students by the Friday 19th, 2024. Further, candidates who sat for the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, the second cohort of students to be subjected to the new funding model, the statement added. Moving on. The national government ambitious affordable housing project in Kakamega is on course, with the first phase of 220 units currently at 20% progress. The National Government Coordination Secretariats from the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs inspected the construction of the 473 million shillings unit at Milimani Estate during their fact-finding mission in Kakamega to strengthen government coordination for effective service delivery. Speaking during the said that the government is targeting to construct at least 20,000 units in the country, which includes hostels for university students at different places. And finally, three people have died on Thursday evening after a matatu they were traveling in was involved in a road accident at Githirio area on the Nyahururu-Nakuru road. Belonging to Nasu Sacco collided with the lorry, killing a woman and her child, who both died on the spot. The conductor of the matatu later succumbed to injuries at the Nakuru Level 5 hospital, where he had been rushed for treatment. The lorry was heading from Nyahururu to Subukia. And that's all we had planned for you for the Science TV Brief News. Thank you so much for staying tuned. You've been with me, Ruth WAIRIMU, with my sign language interpreter doing the voicing, Tobias Omon. Have a good evening and goodbye.